when our energy is tuned, when it is running forward, when it is crossing over, when it is performing in the way that it does when it's at its peak, which it can do when we are rested, when we've eaten good food, not too much, mostly plants, when we're hydrated, when we've been exercising, right? When we're in these states and we work on our energy, we have the critical thinking and the enthusiasm and the balance to make good decisions for ourselves.
Welcome to the world of energy, where science meets spirit. Ancient wisdom merges with cutting-edge knowledge, and the possibilities for a healthier, happier you are endless.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Energy Works. This is Blaine, and I have Lauren with me today, so it's not a solo. It's the two of us together, which is always fun for me. And we have I think, more playful episode today. It's something that is funny and over a topic that we laugh about quite a bit. A few weeks ago, I had been traveling somewhere. I'm not sure where, but I got back and I went to my mailbox and checked my mail, and I had an envelope from Lauren, which I could tell from the handwriting that it was Lauren, that I was not expecting. And so I came in and opened it, and there was this folded up article. I'll hold it up for if you are on YouTube or seeing us on video. It's literally just a page ripped out of a magazine. It was ripped out of Vanity Fair magazine. And Lauren obviously had sent it to me once she read it. I guess I'll pass the mic to her in a minute, but apparently thought, I gotta mail this to Blaine, and got it in an envelope and sent it to me. And it's in their wellness section. It says wellness at the top. And it's called Hacking the System. Do you want to live forever? Vera Papasova has devised the perfect day full of anti-aging and devoid of death. And so I want to get the author's name right, because attribution is important. And so it's Vera, V-E-R-A, Papasova is how I'm saying it, P-A-P-I-S-O-V-A. So if you want to look this article up, Vera Papasova from Vanity Fair. I don't know the date. It's not on here. It does say 2026 in the bottom. So it's from this year. It's called Hacking the System. And before we dive in, I'll ask Lauren, what did you think when you first read this, and why did you send it to me?
Oh, hi, everyone. It's nice to be here. Nice to be here back with you, Blaine. And, it's one of those spoof articles that you don't know that it is until you start to read it. And I was literally laughing out loud. Like, it is so funny. We talk a lot about longevity on the podcast, in our work at Energy Medicine Yoga. We've taught courses to hundreds of people on longevity. We're going to teach another course on longevity. Like, it's right in our wheelhouse. So when I saw that, I was like, oh, cool, an article on longevity. And I started reading it, and I was just busting up laughing. It's just, as they say in New Zealand, it's like taking the piss out of the longevity world. And in just the most hilarious way, because a lot of it is well, I don't know if I want to say true, but there's a lot of things in there that I do. And so it just got me laughing of just how we take ourselves so seriously with some of the things that we do in the world. And at the end of the day, does it make a difference? And we're going to get to that by the end of the podcast, what we think the end of the day really is around this topic. But I was just laughing so hard. I'm like, I have to send this to Blaine, and I just ripped it out and sent it to you.
I'm so glad you did. I had a friend come and visit me a couple of weeks later who is similar to us, and maybe even more than me. I can't say about you because I don't know exactly all of the things that you do, but she does quite a lot of things. And so I went and picked her up at the airport and then brought her to my house. And as soon as I got her in my kitchen, I'm like, you have to read this. I knew she would really resonate too. So like Lauren said, it's a spoofy thing and it's a truth universally unacknowledged. A star in possession of death anxiety must be in want of an optimized body. In La La Land, dying on schedule is C-list behavior. The ultimate performance is a life that transcends age, measured not by applause or awards, but by a perfect harmony produced by the gasp of rivals when your blood work reads 10 years younger than their last role. To endure beyond the mortal frame is not vanity, but professional destiny. In this theater, what is death but bad lighting? Glamour is eternity. Eternity is glamour. When the curtain falls, let it fall on someone else. This hero's journey is not for the faint of heart, nor the weak of jawline. Should you dare, presented below are what 24 wellness hours can look like for an ageless statue. Fair warning, some of these suggestions will expire long before a vial of salmon DNA. Such is the fate of science in Hollywood. So what if it's not doing anything? Neither are diamonds, and those are forever. You could be too. And what follows is a 24-hour day, so it starts with 4:23 a.m., 4:26 a.m., 4:29 a.m., 4:31 a.m. So there's basically a longevity hack, for lack of a better word, that is performed every, 5 to 30 minutes for an entire day, starting at 4:23 a.m. and ending at 9:46 a.m. And I'm gonna pick one out of the middle here. All right, this at 10:54 a.m. Eat sun-charged blueberries from a hollowed-out geode.
It's too
or
good.
I will. It's so good. I'll find another one. This is a good one for yogis. 11:36 a.m. Infrared sauna with surround sound Sanskrit mantras.
I mean, the whole thing, it's just like one thing after another. But the funniest part of it is, as I was reading it, it's like every fifth one, I'm like, I do that. I do that. I do that. Like it starts with awaken to a hatched dawn simulator and forest bird soundscape, right? And so many people talk about, getting outside for the first sun of the day and listening to the bird song. But then it's like remove mouth tape. Well, I wear mouth tape every night. So I'm like, oh, okay, I'm doing that, And then, it just goes on and on. And the parts that are so funny are the parts that it just takes it to the nth level. One of the things I really love is, we've talked about this before. Here we go. Drink 20 ounces of alkaline water. We've gone through the whole thing about water. How do you drink it? Alkaline, structured, filtered, stream. There's so many different things. And take all of these, 63 pills subjectively recommended by longevity podcasters. That is straight up. We have talked about that. The red light therapy, the peptides, I love this one. Film myself for TikTok lying on the floor with my eyes closed to document meditation. Not to meditate, but to document meditation, right? It's so much more important. How do you look to the outside world than what's going on within you? I think we're seeing a little bit of that going on right now in the wellness world, this devotion to appearances versus devotion to the truth of the path. So it's like the article like these that kind of strip back and make us see, the behind the curtain, right? Like in The Wizard of Oz, like the little old man behind the curtain. He's not this wise and powerful Oz. He's just this guy pulling the levers behind the curtain, trying to get you to believe that what he says is good is good. And I think so many of these longevity podcasters, book writers, all of this stuff, are selling that. Or, I mean, I don't want to say snake oil because some of it is really valuable, but some of it is, I mean, I just don't know. Obviously ripe for overexposure.
Yeah, for sure. What makes it funny is when you can see yourself in it, right? I mean, I think that's why both of us are laughing so hard about this topic and why we wanted to talk about it. And to back up, I don't even know, maybe 2 years, maybe even longer than that. Lauren and I had a conversation. I don't think we ever podcasted about it. Podcasted? Is that good? Is that good English? I don't think we ever podcasted about it. That, you know, maybe it's when more and more of these things were becoming in vogue and in our awareness, and we were thinking about them, and we were joking about them back then. Really, you know, the to-do list and how you can, you know, get yourself stressed out trying to check all the boxes that you've convinced yourself that you need to do, and is that, you know, decreasing your longevity, this, you know, the stress and, you know, I guess the hassle, right? And it takes up your brain space. It's something that I experience when I'm taking a lot of supplements or I'm, you know, on a certain regimen or I'm trying to remember to do all my wellness things, is it takes a good amount of my brain space to try to, it's all these, you know, we talk about open loops, right? Have I done it today? That's an open loop. Have I done it today? That's an open, I can't close the loop until I do it. And then I'm just managing all these open loops until I get them all done, which is exhausting in its own right. But a couple of years ago, when Lauren and I were talking about this, we thought, like, where's the happy?
Yeah.
Like, where's the discussion of, are you happy? And if doing all of these things just makes open loops in your brain and you're stressed, and then you're going to bed at night. Did I remember this? I didn't remember that, and I'm going to bed at night disappointed in myself, or whatever it is, then, you know, is that helping my longevity? And so there, you know, there was no, in the discussion then or in the discussion now, you know, where are you finding the happy? And one of the things that made me laugh the hardest in this is, you know, we're into the day. So we started at 4:23 a.m. and we get to 3:16 p.m. Accidentally become aware of mortality. Because that's really what this whole thing is about, is trying to be immortal. People in Hollywood trying to be immortal, right? Dying is C-list. Like that's how we started. Hey, let the curtain fall on somebody else, right? We are going for immortality. And so this accidentally become aware of mortality. The next thing is trauma sensory therapy. I mean, it's just really funny. And so, just thinking about the detriment to longevity, all of these things we're trying to keep up with can create.
I love those two. Then 6:29 p.m. decide I am toxic. 6:32 p.m. lay on my $11,900 foam roller from Remedy Place while crying. So it's just like this tension between all the things you're supposed to do and then realizing, yeah, you're going to die anyway. I remember that conversation that we had. And I also remember it being about all the things that you're, I'm just quote, supposed to do first thing in the morning. And we were like, who gets to be first? Because it's like tongue scraping and getting outside in the first daylight and drinking your AG1 green on an empty stomach and meditating and doing your energy work and writing your morning pages. And it's like, but which one is first? Like, how do you do that? Have you brushed your teeth yet? But wait, I think that comes like fourth after all these other things. And so it was just like this idea of all of the things that we're meant to do to almost sort of mimic a life before all of the distractions of our modern life, certainly the light in the first morning and, you know, all of that sort of thing. But then it's just adding these layers and layers of stress that is actually, that has been scientifically documented to shorten your lifespan. And so spending all of this time and all of this money on all of these things is really just, it kind of gets to be folly. And I love that you said, like, where's the fun? Because joy is one of the things that leads to longevity. Community, joy, play, companionship, crafting actually has been proven to be one of the things that leads to longevity. And so it's like, are you spending all of this time, doing all of these things? And I mean, it's just, and then so many of them are ones that I do that I'm like, oh man. I don't do Wim Hof, but I call it dry Hof because I don't like to be wet in the cold, but I'm happy to be cold. So I'll spend a lot of time outside in the cold doing a dry Hof version, or, the red light therapy. I've actually done this. This one is funny. Reality center vocal analysis to capture biofeedback data from the vibration of my own words and curate optimal mantras and intentions for manifesting my highest self. I have gone and done the thing where you speak into the whatever it is, and it shows you the things that are missing in your vocal structure. I mean, like, whoever did this article, Vera, was just great, like spot on with everything, and just, like taking the piss out of this whole longevity culture that is, who is it benefiting the most? I think you've got to really ask yourself that question. Is it benefiting you? Or are you just shoveling money over? I mean, the longevity industry is now like a multi-billion-dollar industry, and you are supporting it. I mean, I'm looking right there. I see my red light therapy tool. I've got like all of it, right? We are paying into this system that is kind of taking advantage of our longing to live forever. And that's a losing game, because I hate to be a spoiler alert, but spoiler alert, you're gonna die.
We're all gonna die. Yeah. And really, what's driving this, we can't be absolutist, because it's not, I mean, I was going to say men, like it's not all men. There are definitely women influencers, medical doctors, and other professionals who are also capitalizing on this wave that we're in right now. But the most successful with the loudest voices are men. And so, I mean, it's part of the capitalist enterprise in the end, right? And this is where it gets, Lauren and I work in the health and wellness industry. And so we do make money, right? I mean, not necessarily, and I mean, we do longevity courses, about energy, and we're going to circle this back to energy. And so again, the mirror's in the face, right? Or, that the camera's in my face right now. But, there's definitely this whole capitalist bent on longevity and, living longer, and kind of being able to delude ourselves that we can have a longer life. And then, that the health span versus lifespan. I mean, even if we can acknowledge that we're all going to die, then, can we push our functional years to basically the same day we die, right? That, or at least the tail end of, not just being very productive in life, making that as short as possible before we finally die. And even this one, 10:34 a.m., roll my eyes back into my head repeatedly to stimulate my pineal gland. I mean, I think there's a Kriya from yoga like thousands of years ago where that's exactly what you do.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, it's part of why this is so funny, as, there's pieces pulled from so many different traditions, and getting caught up in the insanity of it all, I think, in the financial outlay is where we can find ourselves getting tripped up. And I'll say the open loops. I mean, that's where I've cut way back on my supplements and, several other things, not even because I didn't think they were working. It's just I couldn't handle the not having time to do them or forgetting to do them or deprioritizing them over other things that I needed to do in my day and then being upset with myself over it. So if I just took it off my time block and it wasn't something else that I needed to do, I could relax more. And so, part of that I think is the balance for all of us is, even if you can't if you're doing something, red light therapy, something, and you can't scientifically say that it is helping you, but you enjoy it and you don't stress out over it and you don't should yourself over it, even if it's just something that makes you relax. And so all of the non-red light reasons that relaxing is good for you, if it gets you to do that, then that's great. But the way that I know I can get all in my way in which I hold myself to wanting to do a lot of things and then get mad at myself if I don't get them all done. I've been like my Jenga stack. I've been removing some things.
I like that. Although I'm not sure that that's the best analogy, because the more things you remove from the Jenga, the more it's going to fall. But at the end of the day here, I mean, we've talked about this multi-billion-dollar industry of the longevity industry, but really the research has been coming out to say that, and these are some of the things that we've talked about as well. Here are the most important things if you want to live a long and healthy life. Get really good sleep. Eat really good food. What does Michael Pollan say? Eat less, mostly plants, something else. He has 3 things.
Mostly plants, not too much. It's eat something, mostly plants, not too much.
Yeah. And I'd throw in like organic if you can. But that's
eat food.
Eat food. Yeah. Eat real food. Yeah. Not too much, mostly plants, right? So that's a piece of the longevity thing. Try to take stress out of your life. That's a big piece of the longevity thing. One of the things that they never really talk about, the longevity community that's trying to monetize this, is community play crafting. Because, how do you monetize community? How do you monetize play? Although sure, they are trying, but, play, call up your friends. And, I was at my cousin's house the other day and her son came home. He's maybe 11. And they have this really fun game. And I was so excited to get back with them and be like, okay, let's play that game again. Like, just play, right? There's no monetizing that. I was playing a game with my 11-year-old cousin. Those kind of things are super fun. So food, sleep, stress. Oh, yeah, exercise. Exercise is a huge one, especially weightlifting, especially as you get older, to keep your strength. Those are like the main ones. I'm going to add 2 more here. This is the one that's like, too bad, so sad that there is no way to capitalize or monetize on this, but you are likely to live a long life if you have someone in your family that lived a long life. So if you had a great grandmother that lived to 100, your odds are way better than somebody else. No matter, if you're like side to side and looking at everything equal, you having that person in your family history is going to live longer. So again, no way to monetize that. And if you are that lucky person, you just got that. And there's nothing to be said about it. Not to say that you can't live long without that, but there's studies that show that those people just tend to live longer. And then the real missing link that Blaine and I both talk about and we teach about, that we both think is, I don't want to say we both because I don't want to put words in your mouth, but I think is probably the most important above all of these things. It's literally, I think, at the top of the stack is energy. And I don't mean your mitochondria, because all the longevity people are going to try to sell you mitochondrial supplements and all this stuff to strengthen your little mitochondria. And those little dudes in there, little dudettes in your cells, are really important. You definitely need to have good, strong mitochondria, which you get by sleep, good food, exercise. But I'm talking about energy in terms of the fields of energy that make up the human body, that make up all of the systems that run the human body, and that make up the universe from which we arise. And that energy is something that is not really talked about so much in the longevity world, which is why Blaine and I are so passionate about teaching these courses where we bring this information out that you might not have ever encountered anywhere else before, because it is so important to your longevity. And those of you you're listening to our podcast, it's called Energy Work. So you probably have know what I'm talking about, but maybe you're totally new and you just dropped into this podcast. And so what does that even mean? And I'll give you the metaphor of, well, there it is right behind me. I was going to say guitar, but no, there's a show and tell. Right behind me is a piano. If you can't see it, it's a piano, and you can visualize a piano in your mind's eye because pretty much everyone knows what a piano looks like. If that piano, if the strings in it aren't tuned so that everything plays in tune, that piano is not going to operate at its most efficient way. It's not going to sound good. It's not going to feel good. It's not going to bring you the upliftment when you hear the music because it's not in tune. And very similarly, our whole being is an instrument that we need to tune, the same way you need to tune a piano or tune a guitar so that you get the most beautifulness out of it, the sound, the music, the transformation. We are transformed by music, and our whole being is a musical being. We are motivated and energized and electrified by sound, by waves of energy and information. And so that's a lot of the work that we teach, optimizing that. So, the most coveted violins are these Stradivariuses from like the 1600s. Talk about longevity. It's an exquisite instrument that has been maintained over time by energetically making sure that instrument is in exquisite tune. And you can do that with yourself as well.
I love that, Lauren. Yes, it's working with our own energy is wildly, wildly powerful and affects how we feel, obviously, but it even affects how we are, I'm trying to pick the right words, we are influenced, right? Like we know that when our energy is running homolateral, which is not the best pattern for our energy. The energy crossing over, like your DNA crosses over, like the right side of the brain controls the left side of the body, like that kind of crossing over is our vital, our performing at its peak potential energy is crossing over. When our energy uncrosses and it's running in two straight lines, we call it homolateral. It's kind of like being in low gear. Maybe it's when we're sick or tired or have, had a tough day or anything like that. There's plenty of reasons why our energy, basically puts itself in low gear to conserve itself. So it can conserve energy. And we know that when we are like that, we are susceptible to the thoughts and opinions of others. We don't have all of our wits about us, all of our critical thinking about us, all of our critical judgment about us. So we can be more highly influenced by what other people are telling us, maybe what we should buy or what we need to do or how we can run our day. And I mean, that's just like a small example because we have like example over example over example. But that's what Lauren is saying, that when our energy is tuned, when it is running forward, when it is crossing over, when it is performing in the way that it does when it's at its peak, which it can do when we are rested, when we've eaten good food, not too much, mostly plants, when we're hydrated, when we've been exercising, right? When we're in these states and we work on our energy, we have the critical thinking and the enthusiasm and the balance to make good decisions for ourselves, which might be, I don't need this supplement anymore. Or I don't need to buy this thing that this person is selling me. And so all that to say, Lauren, like, I love your analogy so much because it resonates. I think that you're exactly right. And energy medicine yoga exists because of Donna Eden and Eden Energy Medicine. Donna, a vibrant 83-year-old woman who has been working on her own energy her entire life, is a living, walking example of this.
100%, 100%. Yeah. So if you want to live a long and healthy life, you know, I mean, this is all tongue in cheek, this article. And also, you know, Blaine, you mentioned at the very beginning, this is from Hollywood, right? And so these actors and actresses or whatever are under an unbelievable amount of pressure to maintain what our society has deemed the most valuable thing, which is to be young. And I mean, you know, there's that Demi Moore movie that came out a couple of years ago where she was injecting herself with this stuff to stay young. And then there's been a bunch of other movies in a similar vein. There's this unbelievable pressure. And, you know, there's a few people that resist it, but then they become these outliers. Most people don't resist that pressure, or it's so intense that they can't. I remember talking with someone years ago thinking that Madonna, because she's such a breaker of mores and everything, and just doesn't she just does her own thing. She's not going to listen to what she's supposed to do. And we all thought she's going to be the one to show us about aging. And then, whoa, did that not happen? You know, it's just okay, she's not going to be the one. So I think, you know, we are the ones that we've been waiting for. We're all, if we're lucky, going to get old. If we're lucky, we're going to get really, 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 really old if we're really, really lucky. And so to just start to, you know, maybe the shifting of the public perception starts with us, bottom up instead of top down. It's if we're all yeah, wrinkles are great. And it's the, you know, what the few people are trying to say, it's the map of your life, all this stuff. If we started to embrace and love ourselves instead of resisting our aging, then I think that we could shift out of this paradigm of the sort of that joking article and get really back into how much joy do you have in your life? How happy are you? How are your relationships? Because at the end of the day, I mean, this is starting to get into a whole other podcast that we'll do another time, but I've really been thinking so much about the really big questions, why are we here? What is the purpose of all of this? What is my purpose? What is, you know, all of it, those big questions. And really at the end of each moment, not even just the end of the day, everything is guided by your emotions. And it's this desire to feel good is what motivates us to do everything. And so if we could harness that feeling goodness, because it feels good to be with a bunch of friends and laugh and play, and it feels good to craft, you know, to knit or to paint or draw or color. I love playing with clay because it's really tactile and squishy. And, you know, I just saw this, somebody posted this, the huge snowstorms back east. She had made this unbelievable snow person with this Victorian dress and all of the rolls of the fabric. It was unbelievable how playful and wonderful and just delightful. That's kind of where I think we need to be going, instead of, you know, trying to resist the inevitable and spending all your time and money doing that. Spend all your time and money being a good person and enjoying your life and giving back and nurturing yourself and others. And then when it is ultimately time for you to die, because it is going to happen, you will look back on your life with joy instead of looking back on your life and maybe I shouldn't have gotten that facelift. My face has been hurting me for 30 years now, or whatever it is that you might have spent your money and time or wasted the thoughts on what are they all thinking about me? No one's thinking about you. They're all thinking about themselves. So just make yourself happy.
I think that's where we end it. It's kind of where we started, right? Like when you and I joking about this 2 or 3 years ago, right? Just where's the happy?
Where's the happy?
Where's the joy? There's no 8:25 a.m. Check and see if I'm happy. That's not in this article. But we can do it.
We can do it.
Time block. Am I happy?
I might be down for one of those time blocks. Check in 3 times today. Am I happy? And then here's the beautiful thing. If you're not, figure out how to get there. And maybe that's our next podcast, is finding ways to bring back the happy. If you've lost it for whatever reason, bring back the happy. And maybe there's definitely some things that you can do energetically to bring the happy back, even if you're not feeling it mentally or you're not just feeling it. There's ways to actually make that happen in your energy fields. That whole, I'll leave you with this. And many of you know these studies that if you fake a smile, even if you're not feeling happy at all and you smile, it actually releases the cascade of chemicals in your body that makes you happy. And so that whole fake it till you make it, sometimes it's really true.
I love that. I'm someone who smiles a lot, so that makes me feel good. Maybe sometimes I'm just unconsciously or subconsciously smiling because I know the cascade of chemicals that I will get after.
There you go.
All right. Well, thank you everyone for joining an episode of Energy Works. We would love to hear your thoughts and comments. If you look up this article, let us know. I think you'll laugh as hard as we did, and we will see you next time. Alrighty, Energy fans, that's a wrap on another positively charged episode of Energy Works. Lauren, this is the part where we get to use our energy puns.
It's been electrifying, hasn't it, Blaine? We hope you've enjoyed it as much as we have.
If you're feeling amped up and you want to keep your energy flowing, be sure to hit that subscribe button on your favorite podcast platform.
And we'd love to hear from you, so please take a moment to leave us a review. Your feedback helps us continue to deliver content that resonates, so light up our inbox.
And spark a conversation with your friends to tell them about us. And we'll see you next time on Energy Works.